Just so you know, Melissa and Ray and Tom, we record our meetings, and I will be sending you a recording link in case you'd like to have it.
Okay.
Share it with your circles. While we're waiting for everybody else to log in, if everyone, including our guests, could open your chat box and type your first and last name and your email address. That includes our guests as well. This is how we take attendance in virtual networking. And what I do is, in addition to sending the replay link to you, I also share the transcript. My cats are going crazy behind me, so I apologize for the noise. I also send the transcript to you so that if you want to connect with somebody, you'll have their email address. You don't have to worry about copying it down while we're here at the meeting. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. So just a reminder, as we get that all in, next week is Good Friday and almost Passover and my birthday, and we don't have a meeting, so please don't come.
Important next week.
Happy birthday, early.
Thank you. Every once in a while, it hits right on Easter, just whenever the first full moon after the spring equinox. Yeah. Good morning, Connie Jo. Good morning, Jennifer. We'll go ahead and get started now. Debbie said she'll be here, but she will be a little bit late, so we will welcome her. Cassandra's on vacation, so sending love to Cassandra, who's on vacation. Hannah's not feeling well, sending love to Hannah. She gets over the yucks. I told her to go take a nap with Brandy, who's her Cocker Spaniel. Here comes Nancy. Hi, Nancy. Good morning. Good morning. If everybody could go ahead, just a reminder, do the chat box honors, first, last name, email address for everybody. And now we'll move into our elevator speeches / 30-second commercials. Please try to keep it to 30 seconds so that we have a quick round, and then we'll have time for our speaker to do her presentation. So I'm going to start in the middle. So you're like, who's that? Well, I'll tell you, it's Judy Kane.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. My name's Judy Kane, and my business is Aligned Consciousness. And I help people rewrite subconscious self-limiting beliefs. People come to me for three main reasons, either big emotions like phobias, trauma, stress, anxiety, or they come because they're not hitting their conscious goals, or they come because of physical symptoms of stress.
And get to everybody where you live.
Tarpon Springs, Florida, which is in the Tampa Bay area.
There you go. Susan Shelton, you're next.
I'm next. Oh, good morning, everybody. Susan Shelton. And I shouldn't have said rainy. It's just cloudy here right now. Alexandria, Virginia. And I'm a wellness consultant. I've been trained as a health coach, but I find that I spend more time working with my customers on the importance of nutritional supplementation. I help them balance out what they're eating with the science behind the importance of nutritional supplementation. I work with people that have allergies to relieve those symptoms. That's a common one right now. And sometimes it's just energy. And I often say, if you know someone who's tired, run down, just having trouble getting through the day, maybe upping their vitamin to something more potent, more pure could make a difference for them. So,
great advice. Thank you, Susan. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Also representing Alexandria, Virginia, Mary Beth Decker.
Yeah. Yep, it's cloudy, which beats reading any day. It's Mary Beth Decker with sacredgrove.com. I'm an intuitive animal communicator, which means that I can ask your animals why they're doing that stuff, and even ask them to stop. And so I work with people who are worried about their animals' behavior, want to tell them something about a change in the family, or even want to find out how they're feeling, and when they get older and they're feeling badly, if they're ready to pass. So I do a range of things. I talk to animals after they pass. And my tagline is Mary Beth Decker. We're sacredgrove.com, where people and pets heal and connect. So there we go.
Thank you, Mary Beth. We're glad you're here. Good morning. Hi, Faye. Good morning. You're next.
Good morning. Faye Tarshis, Alpharetta, Georgia. I am the owner of Kathy's Cape.
Yay!
Bad view, isn't it?
Lovely view.
Fleece cape that I created for those that are going through infusion therapy. Keeps them warm and snuggled. Snaps in the back. Has all kinds of pockets to tuck everything. From their purse to their keys to their lunch, maybe if they want to tuck it in there so they don't have to bring a bag and stick it on the floor for hours while they rest. Kathy's Cape.
Glad you're here. Thank you, Faye. Susan Rose, who usually has a mascot with her. Where's Fiona? Oh, there we go.
I always have a mascot with me. My name is Susan Rose. I'm coming to you from also cloudy Reston, Virginia, 20 miles west of the Alexandria people. I help personal development coaches, holistic practitioners, anybody kind of in that space get more out of their content marketing by teaching them the tricks of the pros so that the energy they're spending on all that blogging and writing and social media and everything they're doing, they're getting the most bang for the buck from it. So
thank you, Susan. We're glad you're here. Ray, good morning. Nice to meet you.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
And everyone.
Yes.
I'm a friend of Tom from Illinois, from Geneva, Illinois. I'm not promoting anything. I'm a retired orthodontist, and just a good friend of Tom, and I happened to see his little promo on Facebook this morning. So here to support Tom in his venture here. So
that's awesome.
Oh, I love that.
Can I throw a shout out real quick? Ray and his wife Dana, our new grandparents.
what's that?
New grandparents, Ray?
Yeah.
Grandbaby?
Yep, grandbaby. She's about 5 months old now. But
Oh. It's a good thing you're retired so you can go spoil her rotten.
absolutely. Later this afternoon, plus the grand dog too.
Don't forget the grand dog, yeah. Well, we're glad you're here. Welcome. We're a lively group, and we're glad that you're here to join us this morning. I'm next in the Little Brady Bunch Square, so I'm Jill Celeste. I'm the chapter president for this chapter of Virtual Networkers. We now have 3 chapters, one that meets today, obviously, Fridays at 8 a.m. We have one that meets Mondays at noon Eastern, and then starting May 1st, we will have one that meets Wednesdays at 5 p.m. and our very own Susan Rose will be facilitating that. There's a quick wave. I'm also the founder of the Celestial Circle, which is a lovely membership group for female entrepreneurs where you can learn about marketing and improve your mindset and all other fun things that we do together. So I'm glad that you all are here. Good morning. I'm going to move to Melissa. Melissa, I know you're our speaker, but you still get to do a 30-second commercial, so go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa.
I'm Tom.
This is Tom. We are with Lucy's Meatloaf. I'm the distributor, and Tom is the manufacturer. I am 39 years old. I live here in the metro Atlanta area. I live here with my husband, my 3-year-old daughter, little sassy redheaded thing, and my 4 rescue dogs and my rescue cat.
Oh, we're glad you're here.
I'll live here shortly.
And Tom, tell us a little bit more about you.
Me and my wife Teresa moved to Atlanta in 2010. We're both retired now. Started Lucy's Meatloaf in 2015, and we live with 2 rescue dogs, and met Melissa about a year ago and ventured up with her to expand our distributorship.
Very cool. We can't wait to hear more. We got lots of dog lovers and cat lovers here today. So you're in a good crowd. All right. Going to switch down to Margaret Martin.
Good morning, everyone. I live in sunny Dunedin, Florida. It's sunny right now, which is in the Tampa Bay area. When I'm not in the process of packing and renovating and moving tomorrow, yeah, I love to work with people, specifically women who want to transform that negative mind chatter, uncover some of the passions and discover some of the passions and things they want to do that they've been squishing for a lot of years. And I also work with folks in career transitions. So I do a lot of resumes, help people with LinkedIn, and love the work that I do. MargaretMartin.com.
Thank you, Margaret. Thanks for coming to us from the midst of the moving boxes. There they are.
It looks exactly the same. It's the same place, right? Just down the block.
Yeah, I'll be coming from there next week.
No, you won't. It's Good Friday, Margaret. Take the day off.
I am.
Nancy, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Linneruth from Seattle, Washington. And I have no idea. I still don't know what it is outside, but a good bet it's raining. And let's see, unblockresults.com. People come to me to stop procrastinating once and for all and get on with creating the life they're meant to live. And quite often that's business owners who know that, they got to get out of their own way if they're going to grow their business and do what they're here to do. Nancy Linneruth, unblockresults.com. I can remember that pattern.
Nancy, and it's early in the morning for you. You're doing pretty good being coherent. Connie Jo, good morning, honey.
Good morning. I'm Connie Jo Miller of Enigma Bookkeeping Solutions, and I'm in Cumming, Georgia, which is a northern suburb of Atlanta. And I serve solopreneurs by taking their bookkeeping tasks off their to-do list. And I work with them to identify ways to save money in their business so that they can increase their bottom line.
We are glad you're here, Connie Jo. Good morning.
Glad to be here.
Yay. Jennifer.
Oh, helps to click the microphone. Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I missed last week. I hope it was a lot of fun.
It was, but we missed you.
I hope you don't. Oh, what?
I said it was, but we missed you.
Oh, thank you. I had some fun doing Florida stuff, with the parents. I hope you don't mind. I'm always testing something new here, so I'm going to read a little bit here. I'm Jennifer with Voyu. I'm here in Southern Florida, and I'm your back-end content creator. I'm your powerhouse for the kind of stuff you don't want to do. I will write for your blog, and I will write for your Facebook posts, and I sell packages now that come in, sets of three months. So you can really put that stuff on the back burner and do the fun stuff you want to do, like making videos and selling your own products and that kind of thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome back. Now the parents are gone. Let's see, I have Teresa. Teresa, are you there? She might be. Is Teresa, do you know Teresa, Melissa?
Yes, Teresa is Tom's wife. It looks like she's on mute. Teresa, if you unmute it, you may be able to talk. We won't see you. Don't worry.
It's okay if she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I think she's.
Hi, Teresa. Nice to see you.
Yes, Teresa is Tom's wife, and she is obviously also the manufacturer of Lucy's Metliff.
Yes, she's listening in. So we're glad you're here, Teresa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're all glad that you're here. It's like Ray had to dash off because his internet was not cooperating, which happened. So it was nice to meet you, Ray, if you catch the recording. So now we're going to move into our presentation. Before we do, Faye, do you have their bio handy?
I have a brief their presentation.
Okay, good, because I forgot to warn you. I was like, I'll give you a moment to go find it.
It's quite all right.
So I'll have Faye introduce you in just a second. We are glad that you're here, Melissa, and we'll have you go, if it's okay, to about 8:40.
Okay.
And then we'll open up the floor for some questions. Inevitably, you'll get some. And then after that, we'll do announcements for the rest of us. So Faye, introduce us to our speaker today.
Perfect. Thank you. I am excited to introduce Melissa. I know Melissa only via rescue. I rescued a dog off of a porch that Melissa had like 5 years ago. Posted, somebody take this dog or he's going to a kill center. Never, you didn't know the first thing about it. Said, I'll do it. So this dog was dumped. He was left on a porch. And as I told Melissa the other day, he kind of went from rags to riches. After I had him a little bit and he got adopted, he went to a house that's over 10,000 square feet. To a couple that's just a smidge older than me. They travel the world. So they have children that watch this child of theirs. And he has the run of the house. And I checked on him last night because I still keep in touch with the mom and the dad. And he's doing pretty darn awesome. So Melissa is the queen of rescue. I have to tell you that straight up. She will tell you how many thousands of dogs she has rescued. And if you guys see things on my Facebook pages about those of you that have seen about the 700 in the mill, Melissa had one of them and he got adopted yesterday. I actually cried. 2 of them got adopted yesterday.
Aw.
Melissa and one from another rescue friend that I have. One who I had gone over and met, and he was quite a sad situation. So the fact that these kids get homes and love, and people like Melissa and her groups rescue these animals makes me filled with like a ton of love. I know that sounds really corny, but people like them help us get our rescues. And Mary Beth, she can totally appreciate all of that. Mm-hmm. I want to introduce Melissa. She's a distributor for Lucy's Muttloaf. It's a preservative-free, human-grade food. She's been doing it for a little while with Tom, who created the product. And she's had some success with it, and I wanted her to share it out loud with all of you. So Melissa and Tom, take it away.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Faye, and thank you for having us here this morning. We're really excited to talk about it. Yeah, as Faye said, I've been in rescue since 2011, and that's my real passion. So I've fostered over 500 dogs. I only do small dogs, and it is now I also pet sit, and I sell dog food. So everything I do is dog related. So I am going to let Tom start off by giving you kind of a brief history of Lucy's Muttloaf and how it started with him and his wife in 2015. And then I'll talk about how I became involved with it, and then kind of talk a little bit about why feeding healthy is so important, and what we bring to healthy feeding, and then just kind of some, just tidbits about kibble, which is just dry dog food, and then give you some of the features of what we sell, and what products we have, and how you can use it in your everyday life. So Tom, if you want to start off with a history, that would be awesome.
I will. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Faye, and thanks for letting us join in today. A real quick, brief history, and I've been told that by my wife several times this morning, and Melissa, to keep it brief. We started actually making this product about 15 years ago for our own dogs. It did start with a rescue. Her name was Lucy, and Lucy just came in to our life. She was deplorable condition. We had to pull several of her teeth because of the way she lived. And she needed a soft food. She needed something healthy, soft. So that's how it started. We slowly got into realizing that it was a great product. And then in 2015, we became permitted and licensed by the Georgia Department of Agriculture, which takes about 6 months. You have to test the product. We used Food Safety Network Service here in Georgia. Our testing is done exclusively through them. And basically what the Department of Georgia does is tie that label and what you've tested to your product. So if there's an issue, they can contact you. If there's any complaints from the public, they can contact you. And that's how we started. We teamed up with Melissa almost a year ago today, I believe. Yeah. And it's just been growing great since then. We have 3 products in 7 different packaging sizes. We do Lucy's Muttloaf in 4 sizes. We do muffins, which is a treat. And then we make our own beef bone broth, which is also used in the Muttloaf recipe. And we are now packaging and selling that separately. So that's us.
So just a little bit about how I became involved with Lucy's Muttloaf. So I started feeding it to my dogs. I know a good bit about dog nutrition since I've been, in the business for many years. I started feeding it to my dog. I was looking for something that was a little healthier than kibble. We're going to use the word kibble a lot, which is just the dry food. I was looking for something a little bit healthier than kibble, and I found this and started feeding it to my dogs, and they absolutely loved it. Everybody that I give it to, their dogs love it. They can't get enough of it. I've actually had someone tell me, and I don't know this. They told me this, and it's even hard for me to believe, and I sell the product. But they told me that their dog, she had a bacon wrap fillet. Her dog was not doing so well, and she had offered him a bacon wrap fillet, and he didn't want that. He wanted the Lucy's Butt Loaf. And I was kind of like, that to me is crazy.
Smart dog.
But that's what she said, not that, yeah. So anyway, I became involved when I started feeding it to my dogs. I loved it so much. And I'm kind of the person that most people go to with anything dog related. You know, like, can you help me find a good veterinarian? Like, what surgeon would you recommend? What groomer would you recommend? What food do you recommend? That's kind of just because I've, you know, touted myself as the, you know, crazy dog lady, if you will, on Facebook. So everyone comes to me with all this stuff. So once I had kind of put it out there that I loved the product, then everyone started wanting to buy it. And I had referred so many people to Lucy's Mutt Loaf that Tom called me directly and said, we'd love for you to be a distributor for our product. And I said, I think that would be a perfect fit. So my background is finance and boring stuff like investment banking, mergers and acquisitions, valuing companies and intangible assets, things like that. And so this I'm actually passionate about and I love it, whereas I, you know, was good at the finance stuff, but it was not my passion. So I'm going to let, and also I'm going to talk about why feeding healthy is so important. And I have a little thing to show you, just a little picture here. So let me share. Can everybody see that?
You got it, Melissa.
See the picture? Does it pop
you got
up? This is just a little thing about why feeding healthy is so important. Diet can increase a dog's life by 25 to 50%. And dogs that are fed, any kind of vegetables, leafy green, yellow, orange, any kind of vegetables, at least 3 times a week are 70 to 90% less likely to get cancer. And with a lot, 60% of dogs now developing cancer, it's a lot. And I think, I know it's coming from the food. So this is kind of why it's so important. This was put out by a pet nutrition blogger, this particular one. So let me go back. Let me stop sharing. Okay. And Tom's going to talk to you about Lucy's Mutt Loaf's role and why eating healthy is so important and kind of what we bring to healthy feeding.
Thanks, Melissa. Real quickly, I just want to point out that of all the dog foods manufactured today in the United States, less than 1% put in human-grade food. And obviously, human-grade food, it's not spiced. I don't mean to misinterpret that. It's strictly food that's been regulated for human consumption, which is the regulations on that are much stricter than any ingredients that goes currently in the dog food.
Yeah, all that, it's all by the FDA.
Yeah.
Everything that goes into our product is approved by the FDA.
And we've simplified our ingredients. We don't have a ton of them. Currently, we have 17, and they're proportionate and ratioed to give dogs a maximum healthy serving of food every day. From the amino acids, we have all 10 of the essential amino acids dogs require. The 10 that they can't produce, we have 9. They have actually 1 more additional amino acid, crucial for everything, as you know, the science of amino acids. And then we break it. When we started it with 40% meat, and we started ground turkey and ground beef as the basis for the product. And that's also crucial for dogs. As you know, they're carnivorous, but they do require the other ingredients we put in to have the vitamins, the essential nutrients that they require. So the proportion we started with was actually done on a computer-based software that we purchased. Then from there, once we figured out what we had in it, we had the actual testing done. So that's how it started. The beef, we also have 2 additional products, and I hope I'm not rambling, but I just wanted to mention those real quick because they're important. The beef bone broth, we actually make ourselves. Bone broth, as you know, for human consumption is important, and it's basically because of the macro or the micro trace minerals that the bones give us. and they're just difficult to acquire through food in general. They're stored in the bones. They come from the bones. We simmer our bone broth for 24 hours. We use beef. We use the marrow, sliced marrow bones to create it. And that's also added into our recipe when we cook. So, you can buy it separately, and you can also put it in any of their foods that they require. And it really increases the nutrition value of even a kibble. And I hate saying that word because I'm so anti-kibble. That's pretty much what we've I'm just checking my notes. I wanted to make sure I get it.
It's easily digestible as well.
Yes, and the digestibility is huge. Thank you, Melissa. Kibble will stay in a dog's stomach anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. That's pretty unnatural for any dog. Digestibility is huge. That's what, obviously, you can give them all the nutrients you want, but if they don't digest them, they're worthless. And that's pretty much my interpretation of kibble. When you read a bag, you will see all kinds of nutrient levels on there. The problem is twofold. One, when the bag is opened, those nutrients start to oxidize and deteriorate almost immediately. The longer the bag is exposed, the kibble is exposed to oxygen, the worse it gets. And within a month, you will see a huge depletion in kibble. And that's usually the amount of time that kibble is stored in a household, mostly exposed to oxygen. And most people will store it. If you ask them how they store it, they put it in a container, and it is not airtight. So you read the label, you look at the packaging on kibble, you see all the nutrient requirements, you see the vitamins, but your dog's not getting them. Lucy's Mutt Loaf is digested within an hour. It's off the charts as far as that's concerned. And it's mainly because of the ingredients. We've done nothing super, we've done nothing exceptional, except for making a great product that supplies the nutrients and is completely digestible. You could literally do this yourself if you wanted to put in your time. What we support is the product and save you the time.
Yeah, so I think just to kind of touch on what he said, the oils in kibble do go rancid once the bag is open more than 30 days. The other issue with kibble is that it's very hard for the body to break down. As you said, it stays in the dog system for a really long time, which is why I'm sure all of you have noticed that when you feed kibble, if your dog has ever vomited after eating kibble, even if it's hours later, it still looks like kibble because it's hard for them to break that down. It actually takes dogs moisture from the dog's body to break down the kibble because it's so dry. Even if you, some people just, really just need to feed kibble because economically it makes sense. And if that's the case, what we recommend is using Lucy's Mutt Loaf as a topper because like the picture I just showed, if you feed fresh at least 3 times a week, it really decreases dogs' risk of cancer 70-90%. So use it as a topper if nothing else. You can also take our bone broth and add it to the kibble to give it more moisture. The bone broth adds nutrients, it adds moisture, and it adds flavor. So it's really, I'm obsessed with it. It's one of our newer products, and I love it. I sell it to everybody. As far as Lucy's Mutt Loaf goes, just to give you some idea, some of our features are, as we've said, it's all human-grade ingredients. All of our ingredients that go into it are approved by the FDA. We get products from Gordon Food Services, all of our meat. And Gordon Food Services is the same company that supplies all the local restaurants around here. We literally get ground turkey and ground beef. So the muscle meat that you would find in a package at the store. There are no organs, there's no bones, there's no byproducts, there's nothing like that. It is literally what you buy for yourself at the store. It is obviously all locally sourced. It's all locally produced by Tom and Teresa they've converted their basement into a commercial kitchen, which is really quite a sight to see, actually. We don't have any artificial flavorings, no artificial colors. We have no preservatives.
Which is big, by the way.
That's huge, no preservatives. And because there's no preservatives, the product that you get comes frozen. So immediately after Tom and Teresa bake it, They let it cool and they freeze it immediately because there's no preservatives that will keep it in the fridge. So some of the dog foods that you can buy that last in the fridge for 6 months, even the fresh ones, are just packed full of preservatives, and that's why they last so long. Ours will be about a week in the fridge once you defrost it. We are 99% gluten free. We are not grain free, which is important thing to know. We're not grain free, but the grains that are in it are very easily digestible. So there's ground flaxseed, there's rolled oats, and there's brown rice. And the rice is boiled before we cook it in the product, so it's a lot easier to digest. So
can I just break in for 1 second,
Yeah.
Melissa? One of the things we do with the rice, and the reason we do it, we pre-boil it in the bone broth, and then it's cooled and then put into the mix. And there's a huge reason we do that. When you cool any of the carbohydrates, if you were to do a pasta, if you were to do rice, you lower the starch content if you allow it to cool and then add it. A lot of people say that if you're going to make spaghetti or any of the pastas, cook it, put it in the fridge, and then eat it the next day. You really lower the carbohydrates and the starch. Kibble, and I always come back to kibble as my poor child here is really poor in the starch issue. They actually have to add starch to manufacture it. Kibble ranges from 30 at the low end to as high as 60% starch. Starch, once its breakdown, as everybody knows, you develop sugar, glucose in the blood. And it's very difficult on dogs. There is only one hormone, and that's insulin, that lowers blood sugar. Our system's similar to dogs. The rest of them can increase blood sugar. So by feeding starch and constantly giving a dog a high blood sugar content that it has to reduce is very unhealthy. Same for us. So the lower the starch, the better. Kibble has to put in starch. They require it to form, to make the form through their extrusion process. It upholds to the high heat. It can compress, and when you make the little pellets through the heated extrusion that they make kibble, it has to have that high content of starch or it won't form. So that's a huge drawback from that one aspect, let alone the artificial coloring and preservatives in order to give it a long shelf life. All of that is strictly for mass production, not for health of the dog. So we've broken away from that format. It's expensive to produce what we produce through labor and storage and the product ingredients, but it is probably the healthiest thing you can do for your dog, and that's why we do it.
So, to piggyback on what he said, all the nutrients in our food come from the food itself. Kibble, when they cook it, it's literally cooked at, it's broiled 500 plus degrees. It's literally just like burnt little pieces of food, and it cooks all the nutrients out. So they literally add just like vitamin packs afterwards, and that's what all those extra vitamins are.
Which are synthetic.
Most of them come from China. Whereas our nutrients come from the food itself. We don't even have to add any supplements because they're already there. Another thing to note is that ours is very, we've been talking a lot about dehydration and how bad that is for the dog's body. Ours has a lot of moisture in it, and all the moisture comes from the bone broth and the food. So we don't add water. Some people would say, well, why not just buy canned food if you want to get rid of moisture? Canned food is up to 80% water. So you're literally paying for water. Whereas ours is coming from, like, you will see moisture in it, and it comes from the food itself. So those are just a couple things. We have 4 products, and I will show you. Let me just share. Let me pull this up first.
Okay.
So these are the 4 products that we have. The top left is our Mutt Minis or meatballs. And it's the same product as the bottom right, which is our Mutt Loaf. Get it, Mutt Loaf? It's like meatloaf, but Mutt Loaf. It's the same product, just different forms. Some people like the meatballs because they're easier to give, like, you know, for pills and things like that. It's easier to just pop a pill in there like a pill pocket, and some people like the meatballs better. The top right is our bone broth, which we've been talking about a lot. It adds the moisture, nutrients, and flavor to kibble or to any other food. And then the bottom left is our treats. Those are muffins. And let me stop sharing. And then those muffins are made from peanut butter, applesauce.
Applesauce, peanut butter. The majority of it, 40% of it, is pumpkin. And then we add to that peanut butter, applesauce. The topping is simply a yogurt mixed in with a little tapioca flour.
Yeah, the yogurt. It's like a little yogurt topping, but it looks like frosting, and then they put a little bone on top, which the bone is literally just the exact same product as the muffin itself. It's just very thin and stamped out. So those are our products. As far as how we recommend to feed them, like I said, the meatballs, a lot of people use them. People that feed kibble or people that feed something else, they use it as a topper a lot of times because it's easy to just pop 1 or 2 out, frost it in the microwave, things like that. It's great for administering pills. And then we also have the loaves. We've got 1 pound and 2 pound loaves that come in. We've got a package actually here that we can show you. This is what the package looks like. And then when you pull it out, it's just literally a tin. And in the tin, it looks just like a meatloaf that you make for yourself. They come in 1 and 2 pound packages. Most people buy the 2 pound packages because it's easier as far as, or it's cheaper.
More economical.
Per pound, it's cheaper. And anyone that feeds just meatloaf most certainly buys the 2 pound loaf because it makes the most sense. The reason people buy meatballs as opposed to it is if they don't want to, if they're not being just that, they don't want to defrost the whole thing at once. Because like I said, it doesn't last in the fridge more than as long as you keep meat for yourself, we say about a week. But there are no preservatives to make it last any longer.
Let me just interrupt.
Yep.
Kind of a general rule of thumb, if the dog is under 20 pounds, we have found that the mutt minis, the meatball size, work very well because approximate weight is just under an ounce each. So it's not only easy to feed, it's easy to figure out amount.
Yeah, so to that point, as far as how much you feed them, the daily recommended feeding usage or whatever, feeding instructions.
Feeding amount, yeah.
Feeding amount is 2 to 3% of the dog's body weight daily. So if a dog weighs 10 pounds, it'd be 0.2 to 0.3 pounds a day. And you split that into 2 feedings. And that's what most vets recommend. The 2 to 3% does include anything extra that you feed, including treats. Did you have a question, Faye?
Actually, I'm just writing everything down because I've got a whole bunch of questions.
Oh, okay.
Well, and just to that point real quick, feel free to hit our website, which is simply lucy'smuttloaf.com. No apostrophe on the Lucy's, just all one word. And we answer a lot of questions there. And through the website, you can also contact Melissa or myself. And we're more than happy to tell you about the product and how to feed and the amount. We have discovered that people, when they switch to Lucy's Muttloaf, if they're feeding it as a staple, weight-wise, they feed less than the current dog food they were feeding, simply because of its, again, digestibility and the what it brings to the table. No pun intended.
Yeah, so if you did want to add in just a little bit, people always say, well, it's not apples to apples. If you feed half a cup of dry, it's not half a cup of our food, because our food has a lot more nutrients in it, so you need less of it to feed. But the general rule of thumb, if you want to feed kibble and add this to the topper, a lot of people, just the general rule of thumb is 2 scoops of kibble out per 1 scoop of fresh in. Kind of the general.
Yes, the general rule.
Yeah. So we had till 8:40. It is 8:39.
Perfect.
Is there anything else you want to add before we go to questions?
I do. One real quick point, and I'm not trying to always be this the sayer of doom here, but cancer in dogs is really on the rise. It's been on the rise for over 3 decades. There's no exclusive proof. Nobody has really done anything scientific to study why. but there is a lot of evidence pointing towards kibble for a multitude of reasons, several we touched on. There's approximately 65 million dogs in the United States, and every year approximately 6 million pass away from cancer, some form. And we really feel strongly at Lucy's Mutt-Loaf that it's tied in to preservatives, artificial colorings. That's been proven for years. There are several, especially a red and a yellow dye, that are very carcinogenic. And those combined with the process of the high starch level in kibble, we feel the evidence points that way, that that's the increase in poor health in dogs, specifically the cancer rate.
And one thing that we actually didn't touch on, we've touched on literally everything.
We pretty much,
we've talked about, like, where it's sourced from and everything else, but we haven't even said what the ingredients are.
Oh, okay.
So we start with real meat, 40% real meat. Like I said, no organs, no bones, no byproducts, anything like that. And we use the word byproduct a lot, and just so you know, byproduct is basically anything that's not fit for human consumption, which is in most dog food.
It's what's left on the slaughterhouse floor.
That's exactly right. Like it's stuff that the butchers have to actually burn, like entrails and things like that. They have to actually burn it because they can't even throw it in the garbage, and they put that in dog food. So it's 40% meat, 25% turkey, 15% beef. And then to that we add carrots, sweet potatoes, peas.
I'll read the back of the label because sometimes I forget myself.
Okay.
Sweet potatoes, peas, eggs, and we do use whole eggs. When we're done adding the eggs in, we save the shells, we boil them, we bake them at 250 for approximately a half hour, grind them to a powder, and add it back in for the calcium level. Rolled oats, the beef bone broth, olive oil. Did you say green beans?
I did not say green beans.
Okay, green beans, parsley, turmeric or turmeric. I never know how to pronounce that. And that's it.
And brown rice. I don't think it's that one. I haven't got
The brown rice. Yeah. I'm sorry. All of those bring in what we have put down into the software when we first started it. Ideal vitamin levels, ideal amino acid levels. And we know it works because we've been feeding it to our own dogs and our own rescues for over 15 years. Lucy did extremely well on it. We adopted her. The vet actually suggested we put her down because of her health and her issues. It wasn't just her teeth. She had very poor hips. And there was a struggle there, but we were able to keep her around. We adopted her at approximately 5 years of age, and we had her for another 11. I personally attribute it to Lucy's Mutt-Loaf, but there were a lot of other things. The vet we had was exceptional, and Dr. Wadowski did a great job with her. So that's our briefing.
So what questions can we answer for you guys?
Yes, thank you let me just say, first of all, thank you so much for your passion. You can tell you both are so passionate about not only your product, but just, making sure that all dogs are healthy. Really appreciate it. I asked people in the chat, so you both can see it later, how many of us are dog owners, and we're chatting about our dogs. So Jennifer's got a whole Instagram account dedicated to her dog. If you don't follow Murph on Instagram, recommend it. My dog is a 3-time cancer survivor.
Wow.
Yes. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. She's an amazing girl. So the cancer conversation is obviously near to me and dear to my heart. So thank you for touching on that. So let's open up the floor for any questions for Melissa or Tom. Go ahead, Faye, and then Mary Beth.
Tom, who does all the cooking of all the food? You and your wife?
We do. We actually started in our kitchen before we were licensed. And then once we were permitted and licensed, we realized we had increased capacity. And we now have a small commercial kitchen. It's still in our house, in the basement, 300 square feet. We have currently 5 freezers. We have a double oven and a single oven, so we have 5 ovens. That was really our Achilles heel when we first started, was the baking process. And we generally bake it to 165 degrees. So as most of you, I'm sure, know, over 140, you start killing bacteria. At 165 is kind of fail-safe. All of that is digitally controlled. Once we hit 165 in the center of the product, we pull it, cool it, freeze it.
Awesome. Great question. Mary Beth.
Well, thanks so much. This is really fascinating to me. I've been studying pet food for a while and nutrition, and the more I know, the more upset I get about what we're feeding our animals. You know, somebody, and I think she's right, she said feeding our animals kibble is the equivalent of feeding our kids cereal every day. And then, you know, so I'm more or less doing a small rant in support of what you all are doing. Thank you so much. You know, like 20 years ago, our animals lived twice as long as they do now. And if you look at the FDA stuff about what we can feed our animals, it can also include animals who have been euthanized.
Yeah.
Think about that. The stuff that they use to put our pets down are now going into the food that we are feeding our animals. And it is a problem. So thank you so much. This is really good stuff. I mean, I more have a like, thank you. This is, what you're doing is great. I have a stubborn husband, so he likes to buy kibble. And so I'm just sneaking in some good stuff, and I'm going to have to look out yours because I'm feeding the dogs and the cats some decent things. And, you know, if you can talk even more about the difference between human grade food and what's allowed in to be fed to our animals, I'm always curious to hear about that. So,
yeah, well, what you said, Mary Beth, is exactly right. A lot of times in kibble, what they have is what's called 4D meats. So 4D meats means anything that's diseased. They could have anything diseased in there. They could literally put roadkill in dog food, literally. Animals that are euthanized. So, you know, that drug that they use to euthanize the animals, like that is literally going into the food. It's unbelievable what they can put in dog food, and it's legal. So to us, it's astounding.
The reason they can get away with most of those meats is you've heard the rendering process, and that's what they do. They render them all. They basically make a big stew out of it. They heat it up to kill everything in it. But in that process, when they heat it to the levels they do, they're killing everything. They're not only killing bacteria, they're destroying the nutrients, they're destroying the vitamins. The recent recall from Hill Science Diet with high vitamin D. The reason that was bad is vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so it stays in the system longer. It's not water-soluble like vitamin C, where you can take high quantities every day. Vitamin D, if you take high quantities, it really stresses a dog's liver and kidneys. They put in, after the fact, they make their kibble, and then they have to add synthetic vitamins, and that's done in a powder form. And in that powder form, if they're not very strict, if there's any failure through that process while they're adding the powdered vitamins, they can get over or under introduced into the kibble. And in this case, it was vitamin D, and I believe the current amount right now, Hill Science Diet had a recall 28 of their recipes. Obviously, because they have a large manufacturing plant, they have, I believe, 2 in the United States. And when that happens, a small mistake becomes more catastrophic because now you have it in a boatload of products. So they had to catch them, recall them. And that kind of brings me into the other point of current mass-produced commercial dog food. And that's, what's the best way to say it? It's done for profitability. Their feed trials, their formulations, their process, their manufacturing is all done to supply the 65 million dogs as cheaply and quickly as they can. So that's the drawback.
Yeah, it's not quality. So I mean, I think and that's a testament to all of the recalls there. I mean, Akana and Origin and mean, even the 5-star premium dog foods have been recalled for arsenic, lead, BPA, pentobarbital, vitamin D, just all kinds of different stuff. Just because the process is not regulated like it should be. So
their main control is after the fact. A recall is generally started by the public. Most often a dog or a cat becomes sick. Most cases they've actually had a death. So they bring it to the vet. The diagnosis shows that it's possibly the food, and then the recall starts. So it's all after the fact. Their regulation and their testing is very poor in the beginning. They wait to be sued, basically.
Yeah, that's, it's always, you always hear, but the Hill thing was very catastrophic for I had a friend who lost her dog from the Hill diet, some scandal, and it was horrible. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I know we're running out of time, but I know a lot of us have questions. Feel free, remember that Melissa put the website in the chat box, so please feel free to reach out to them individually, especially if you have questions specific to your dog. And it sounds like we have a request for cat food. No pressure, Tom, but
that was my question.
We got some cat lovers in here too. So thank you so much for that. Very fascinating. I really appreciate your time. And be sure to check the chat box when I send it to you, Melissa. You'll see all the dog lovers in there.
Okay, I can't wait to read that.
You can circle back with everybody, especially Mary Beth, because she knows a lot of dog owners, and she teaches us how to talk to our dogs and cats.
Well, thank you for the time.
You are welcome. It was a pleasure. So we're going to move into now our announcement portion. This is where we talk about something we're promoting, something we're selling, a shout out, just a celebration, whatever it is. It's your chance to share. And so I'm going to start with Margaret Martin. Hi, Jane.
Thank you. Actually, she wasn't here when I did a shout out, but I will now. Shout out to Faye, who bought 3 of my gratitude journals, and they're packed right now, or I'd show them to you. But you can see them on margaretmartin.com. Thanks, Faye. She sent a couple to several of her friends and around the country and asked me to write a note inside. So I do that. I personalize any book that that I have that you want to send to somebody else. And I'm also the author of The Chatter That Matters, Your Words Are Your Power, which you can find at margaretmartin.com. Thank you.
The toddler is misbehaving. Can you all see this behind me? Look at this. Look at this girl. Oh, Susan Shelton, you're next.
Yes, I see your little toddler back there. So what a fascinating presentation. Just everything that you talk about and how you work with your targeting the dogs and everything it resonates so much with how I work with humans on the coaching I do and the supplementation I do. So bravo to you all. My ask for today would basically be anyone that you know that is dealing with allergies. 12 years ago, I was able to get off my allergy medication by following a nutritional protocol. And I was able to relieve the symptoms of my allergies. I still have allergies, but I was able to relieve those symptoms. So if you are dealing with allergies or know someone else, please have them reach out to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Susan. Judy Kane and then Nancy.
Okay, so no ask today, but a few shout outs. So I've been working with Susan, and she's helping me get a grip on the technical behind the scenes things I need to do for marketing, which has been most helpful. I'm in Jill's spiritual marketing class, and I can't wait to tell y'all what's been happening there, but it's been interesting. And then Mary Beth, I'm in her animal communication nurture class, and I'm still talking with all the weird animals. And she's also sent me several really good referrals, so I appreciate that. I'm going to be on a radio show next week with somebody that she referred me to. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. That makes my president heart just swell.
I think your board is coming down.
Yeah, it's
my board? Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Jane is distracting us today.
And I'm going to work with Nancy this afternoon and see if she can do something worth doing a swap. So lots of fun.
You know, when you name your cat Calamity Jane, you're asking for calamities. Nancy, you're next.
I'm back. I don't know what happened to my internet connection, but I'm here. Yeah, I have a few shout outs actually. First of all, Margaret Martin sent me the Chatter That Matters and the journal book that goes with it. Wrapped them up. My daughter opened them on Wednesday for her birthday, and she won't let me have them yet. But when I get a chance, I get to read them too. So anyway, they're lovely books. I'm very much looking forward to that. And Judy, we exchanged, let's see, yesterday you did your Psych K on me, and I don't know, it was just bing, bing, bing. We got 4 big areas covered. I feel like I can take on the world now. It's just amazing. Excuse me. And so I just wanted to let you know, I've had a number of people reach out to me in the last 2 weeks about the roller coaster thing that happens when you feel like you're doing great, everything's going the way you want in your business, and then the brakes seem to be put on, either from yourself or it seems like it comes from the outside, but it's a pattern that goes over and over and over again, and that is something that I can help get rid of. So if you know somebody who seems to do the ups and downs like that over and over, let them know. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Connie Jo, you're next.
So in addition to being a bookkeeper, I am also a money guide, which is a program that I have where I help people get control of their money. And this is on a personal level. So it's a 90-day program. So if you or anyone you know is struggling financially and really wants to get a control of their money, wants to set some specific financial goals and achieve them, I'd love for you to send them my way.
Thank you so much, Connie Jo.
Thank you. And I loved the presentation. And I don't have pets, but it was just fascinating.
Wasn't it? And they left. Where'd they go?
Oh.
I don't think that was intentional. I saw Melissa with her computer and then suddenly it was gone.
Yeah, something happened there. So
I don't think that was
anyway, we'll look at the recording nonetheless. So
It was fascinating.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Thanks, Faye.
And Teresa's still listening. So thanks, Teresa. Jennifer, you're next. You're muted, Jennifer, honey.
I was just saying I love this group, but it probably helps if I unmute. So I just wanted to say that a little shout that Debbie has started working with me. She's not here this morning, but she took me up on the complimentary package that I'm working on right now. So I'm kind of in a beta type situation. So if anybody wants to jump on board and try it out, it's a pretty good size, pretty good chunk of a bunch of content for you. So it's 3 months, 3 sets of Facebook posts. It's kind of your back end content that you can schedule throughout the month. I do 12 posts for you a month, and then I do 2 blog posts for you each month. So it really can fill up your coffers for you quick while you spend time doing, all the fun stuff, networking and working on your own product and that kind of stuff. Excuse me. So I have 2 more spots for that. If anybody's interested, please contact me. I'd love to work with you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. And I will just say, Jennifer and I are in an Instagram engagement pod together, and she is so good on Instagram. So
and so are you, Jill. It's so fun.
I'm learning from you all. Yes, so just a little shout out. Melissa's back. Yay, we're glad you're back, Melissa. I wish she could still hear us. Susan, go ahead, honey.
Hi, everyone. So that was so great. I'm feeling a need to start cooking for my dogs again because I have gotten lazy over the last few years and haven't been doing it. But it is pretty horrifying what goes not into, even some human consumption food is horrifying, but that could be a whole 5-hour discussion. Anyway, so my ask today is on Tuesday. I am doing a workshop, a free workshop to help people develop basically a 3-month content plan. So going through all the ways I take my clients through figuring out what to be doing and where to be expending their energy. So not just the producing it like Jennifer helps, but like where should that time be going, So I would really love for you all to be there to see your faces. I know a couple of people are registered, and share it with your friends. I would love to have a lot of people on it. It is literally going to be get some handouts, roll up your sleeves, we're going to do it kind of workshop. So it's not the typical kind of workshop that most people are doing these days. We're going to
It's actually working.
It's actually working, a working workshop with a little bit of a pitch at the end. I'm not going to lie. I'm launching my Killer Content Formula Bootcamp again, but we'll talk about that at the very end. You may or may not see pictures of Mary Beth and Judy at the end of my presentation. So that is my ask for today. And then I'm going to be posting the invitation for the kickoff of the new Virtual Networkers chapter sometime in the next couple of days. I'm working on pulling that together. So I hope you all come and kick us all off in grand style on May Day. So that's
Yay! We're so excited about that. Please make sure if you can to join us on our webinars, even if you don't have an intention to purchase. It's just nice to see familiar faces when you're presenting because it's nerve-wracking. And it's okay. I'm like, I'm so thank you for being there. Like, Chicani Joe showed up for stuff, and I was like, oh, it's so nice. Just know there's a cheerleader in the crowd. So if you're able to stop by Susan's, even if you can't purchase from her, it's like fans in the stadium, right? It's just nice. So please support if we can. I'm next, and then it'll be Mary Beth and Faye, and then we'll come back to Melissa. Real quick. Well, Susan's already talked about May 1st. Save the date, May 1st, 5 p.m. Eastern. Please attend our third opening of a chapter. And then I am looking for female entrepreneurs to join the Celestial Circle. I would love to welcome you if you are interested in learning how to authentically market your businesses. We are working on writing letters this month. Next month, I've got something even cooler up my sleeve. And then eventually we'll be doing mid-year planning. So all good stuff coming your way from me, thecelestialcircle.com. So we'll go to Mary Beth and then Faye.
Okay, that was a great presentation. Thank you both for talking about pet food. It's a I gotta say, it's a really dire subject when you learn the truth. But heck, we got to think about that for our pets. So thank you for what you're doing. So shout out to Jill. I've been in your circle for a couple of years. Your marketing planning is like the key to my getting it done every year. And also what we do every month is so cool. I tell you guys really quick. I did a presentation at Natural Living Expo, and we had the raffle idea. So this time I raffled off a free session. Thank you, Jill, for the idea. And it started with Debbie as well. And I got like 4 times the number of people signing up for my my newsletter that I did the year before. It's like it's a miracle. So, it's like that kind of stuff happens. And I'm on the Proflavanol for Susan for my allergies. Been on that for a few years because it works. That's why I do it. And Susan Rose has been helping me just kind of tweak my blog, so I'm getting a higher open rate. So that's a real quick thing. And then if you have animals and you don't know what's going on, please check me out.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you for those great shout outs too. Appreciate it. Faye!
I want to thank Melissa and Tom for an awesome presentation. I learned way more than I think I thought I wanted to know, to be honest with you. As my dog came trotting in here, I was looking at her thinking, feeding her poison, and we pay top dollar for her dog food from the vet's office. So thanks for the awakening. I want to give a shout out to Margaret. The girls loved their journals. Love their journals. So I love mine. I was actually looking for it. I thought it was sitting on my desk, but earlier I said I cleaned my desk off yesterday. I don't know anything is. So otherwise I was going to show it to you. I love my journal. I am excited that it's been a good Cape week, and I am still looking for a boutique that may want to house the capes and do some of that for me, and I can just make them. That would be lovely. But I want to thank everybody for always starting my Fridays off with such energy. I love you guys.
We love you too, Faye. Thank you so much. Melissa, any announcements? We always allow our guests to announce, promote, whatever you like.
I don't know. We didn't know that we were going to have an announcement.
I know it's unusual, but we love our speakers.
No, well, we definitely want to say thank you to all of you for having us. Faye had told me that the energy with all of you guys is great, and I wholeheartedly agree. Like, the energy is just fantastic, and you guys are all wonderful. So really appreciate you being able to come on here and present to you. And so we will, we do ship, just so you know, for people that are not local. I know a lot of you are in Virginia and Florida. We do ship, and we will have to give 50% off their first order.
Absolutely.
We'll give you 50% off your first order. If you want to place it, just see what your dogs think. And anyone that's local, I do have free samples if you want to stop by at any point and pick any up of all of our products. So.
Awesome. Dave, it's very generous of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did I miss anyone? Did I get everybody? Who did I miss? Nobody? Margaret?
You're from Connie Joe, did I?
Yep, we heard from Connie Joe. She wants you to be menu guide. She wants to be your
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, this morning.
Usually I go by the order of the Zoom, but it's been Hollywood Squares moving today, so I apologize.
Certainly have.
Skip somebody. Real quick before I let you all go. Next week, no meeting. I hope everybody enjoys a lovely Easter and a happy Passover. The following week is the week of the or Friday, April 26th. Yours truly will be on vacation. So our esteemed Debbie Keevan will be running the meeting for me. Thank you, Debbie. I know you're not here, but it's so lovely to have a good backup. Everybody needs a backup. I will be in Macon, Georgia, celebrating my 25th college class reunion with my girls. So
Oh, man. Congrats.
Thank you. I'll be on part. I have a tiara and a boa to wear, so I'll make sure you all see pictures of that. And I'm bringing Emma with me because
Connie Joe and I can take a ride and see it in person.
Yeah. You can crash the party. Just bring your tiara.
We
will.
And a boa.
I'll have extras. Don't worry. I got 20 of them. So I will miss seeing you on that Friday. But I know Debbie will have you all in great hands. So, and our speaker is Rhonda Olympic, who is going to talk about health and nutrition, and she's a fabulous speaker. You'll enjoy Rhonda very, very much. So thank you again to Melissa and Tom. Fascinating today. Thank you for your passion and your love for animals. As one animal lover to you, thank you so much for all of that. Be sure to watch out for my replay link and my transcript email. I'll be sending it out this morning to everyone. And I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Thank you. See you next time.
Nice meeting you.